The massive council chamber was a tomb of dread. Hundreds of eyes from dozens of species watched Commander Anya Sharma step forward, her black uniform a stark contrast to the colorful robes and varied forms of the alien delegates. Inside, her heart hammered with a grim determination. These beings thought they were sending her team on a suicide mission. They had no idea what humanity was truly capable of. "Commander Sharma," Ambassador Xylos spoke, his crystalline skin shimmering under the lights. His voice translator made his words sound like grinding rock. "Your species has volunteered for a task that has claimed 34 previous expeditions. Are you certain you wish to proceed?" Anya nodded, her face a mask of resolve. "Determined. My team and I are ready, Ambassador." The colossal viewing screen behind the council table blazed with images of planet Kalar-13. Jagged mountains of fused rock tore from a landmass that was visibly fragmenting. Oceans of churning acid vapor boiled under a sky of perpetual arcing Chronos-Storms. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Concerned, Kalar-13 is classified as a Class 13 Deathworld, the ambassador continued, his eye stalks twisting with concern. "No sentient species has ever established a permanent settlement there. The gravitational pull is 8.5 times that of your homeworld. The atmosphere contains corrosive metallic dust and exotic, penetrating chronal radiation. Its tectonic activity is planetary in scale." From her position behind Anya, Dr. Eris Thorne coughs to hide a cynical laugh. The aliens had no idea that Earth itself was a de facto Class 5 Deathworld. Humans had simply never corrected their new galactic friends when they assumed Earth was only a Class 2. Confident, "We understand the risks," Anya said, proud. "Humans evolved in extreme conditions. We are uniquely adapted for this mission." A representative from the Tikan species leaned forward, their armored plates clicking together. Skeptical. "Your confidence is admirable, Commander, but perhaps misplaced. Warning. The hourly temperature swings on Kalar-13 range from 2,000 to Celsius to a cryo-cold of -250. A single Chronos-Storm can tear a starship apart. All matter on that planet is in a state of rapid decay." Anya smiled a humorless smile. Dryly, "Sounds like a typical training exercise in a terraforming simulation." Amused, just a bit warmer. The joke was lost on the aliens, who looked at each other in confusion. Questioning, "Your team will consist of 5 members?" asked the Tikan delegate. "Yes, myself, Dr. Eris Thorne, our medical officer and bioadaptation specialist, Sergeant Jackson Jax Vance, our security expert, Dr. Lena Petrova, environmental engineer, Dr. Kaylin Reed, xenobiologist, and Elias Vance, our communications and quantum systems specialist." The council members studied the human team. To them, the 5 humans looked nearly identical, all with the same basic body shape. They couldn't see the diverse skills and the iron will that made each team member special. "The mission parameters are simple," Ambassador Xylos said. "Establish a functional outpost on Kalar-13 and survive for 1 standard galactic year. If you succeed, Earth will be granted advanced technology and expanded territory rights." What went unsaid was that no one expected them to succeed. This was a polite way for the Council to deal with a troublesome newcomer species. Send them on an impossible mission, watch them fail, and then humanity would understand its place. "We accept the parameters," Anya said, "and when we succeed, the Council will honor its promise." As they left the council chambers, Anya's team gathered around her. The ceiling arched 30 feet above them, designed to accommodate species much larger than humans. "They think we're going to die out there," Jack said, his knuckles white on his weapon harness. "They have no idea what we're capable of," Kaylin said, adjusting his glasses. "Their species evolved on worlds with stable climates. They engineered away all their natural adaptations for survival." "Which is exactly why they need us," Anya said. "The Council has been trying to establish a presence on Kalar-13 for decades. There's something valuable there. The official report says mineral deposits." Lena noted, "But no deposit is worth losing 34 expeditions." "There's something else they're not telling us," Eris said, shaking her head. Elias, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. I've been monitoring their encrypted channels. There are references to relics and transcendental technology. Anya's eyes narrowed. Whatever's there, we're going to find it, and we're going to use it to make sure humans are never underestimated again. 2 days later, they stood beside their ship, the VSS Odyssey. It was small compared to the Council vessels, but it was a repurposed deep space exploratory vessel, a technological marvel packed with Earth's best tech and a few modifications the Council didn't know about. Your species shows remarkable courage, Ambassador Xylos said to them, his tone filled with genuine pity. We will honor your sacrifice. Anya shook his hand, careful not to crush his delicate bones. It's not a sacrifice if we come back, Ambassador. The loading ramp closed behind them. Inside the ship, the team strapped into their acceleration couches. The launch countdown began. Everyone ready? Anya asked, looking at her team. Born ready, Jax replied, his hands steady on the weapons console. All systems green, Lena reported from engineering. Medical bay prepped, Eris said. Quantum comms online, Elias confirmed. Xenobiology lab secured, Kaylin added. Anya nodded and opened the ship-wide channel. This is Commander Sharma. Launch sequence initiated. Next stop, the apex of annihilation. The Odyssey lifted smoothly from the launch pad. Through the viewports, Anya could see the Council representatives watching. Their postures showed they were already mourning the humans they believed were flying to their deaths. Little do they know, Anya murmured to herself as the ship accelerated toward orbit. We're just going to a place that feels like home. The VSS Odyssey shrieked as it entered Kalar 13's atmosphere. Chronal radiation flared outside the viewports, each bolt a cascade of temporal distortions that momentarily phased reality in and out of existence. The ship plunged through clouds of plasma and caustic dust. Metal groaned as the hull was heated to incandescence, alarms blaring. This is one hell of a welcome party, Lena said from her station, her hands flying over the controls, making micro-adjustments to keep them from burning up. Anya gripped her command chair. Status report! Hull integrity dropping, Lena yelled back. Atmospheric thrusters at maximum, but we're fighting 8.5 G of gravity and a 300-mile-per-hour wind with an acidic composition. We're losing skin. Atmospheric composition is like a chemical weapon, Eris added, her voice strained. Corrosive. We're fighting cellular degradation just by being here. The ship burst through the cloud layer. Below them lay a landscape of utter chaos. Fragmenting mountains, oceans of seething acid, and a sky that was a tapestry of violent energy. Looks like a nightmare, Jax said, but his voice held a trace of excitement. Landing zone 2 miles ahead, Elias reported, his face grim. Scanners show a relatively flat area, but there's a strong, non-natural energy signature coming from the northern mountains. Anya nodded. Take us in. Everyone prepare for a hard landing. With a final, desperate shudder and a deafening crash, the ship touched down on Kalar 13. For a moment, everyone sat in silence, listening to the scream of the wind outside and the ping of particles eating away at the hull. We're here, Anya said finally. First human footsteps on a Class 13 world. Officially, anyway. Environmental readings are catastrophic, Lena reported. Outside temperature is 115 degrees Celsius, gravity at 8.5 G, suit integrity is already at 80%. Any immediate threats? Anya asked. Kalen checked his biological sensors. Nothing large on scans within a mile, but the red moss-like growth outside is covering everything. It's radiating a high-frequency energy signature. The Council gave us these environmental suits for a reason, Eris reminded them. They insisted no species could survive direct exposure to the atmosphere. Jack snorted. 10 credits says I can breathe just fine out there. Don't bet, Kalen replied, his voice serious. The air is actually less toxic than some Earth cities I've visited. The real issue is the chronal radiation. It'll age your cells by a decade in a minute. Anya stood up. Let's suit up, but we'll test the atmosphere properly before anyone takes off their helmet. We follow protocol. At first, the team moved to the airlock chamber where 5 bulky, state-of-the-art environmental suits awaited them. The suits felt clumsy and suffocating in the crushing gravity, but they were their only protection. With a hiss, the outer door slid open. A blast of hot, corrosive air rushed in. The roar of the wind was a physical force, even through their helmets. Anya stepped out first, her boots sinking slightly into the reddish ground. The gravity felt like a weight pressing down on her, making each step an immense effort, but it was bearable. First steps on Kalar 13, she said for the benefit of their remote audience. Surface is stable. Movement is possible, but requires immense effort due to gravity. The rest of the team followed her out. They spread out, each examining a different aspect of their landing site. Temperature readings inside my suit are climbing, Lena reported. These suits aren't as efficient as they claimed. They're failing. Kaylin was already collecting samples of the red moss. This is incredible. This organism has adapted to the constant Chronos-Storms by developing a way to channel temporal energy through its structure. What about those predators? Anya asked, turning to Jax. Suddenly, a distant roar echoed across the valley. It was a sound that shook the very ground, a low-frequency rumble that tore through their suits' comms. Everyone froze. What was that? Elias asked, his voice strained. Kalen checked his scanner. Large life form about 3 miles away and moving in this direction. Very large. And intelligent. Jax reached for his weapon. Sounds like we're about to meet the locals. Anya smiled. This was what humans did best. Adapt and survive. Whatever was coming their way, they would be ready. Welcome to day 1 on our new home, she said. Let's show the Council what humanity can really do. 1 week passed. The Galactic Council's monitoring team watched in stunned silence as new data came in from Kalar 13's surface. The main viewing screen showed Anya's team working outside their base camp without their full environmental suits. They wore only light protective gear, their bodies moving with a strained efficiency. This is impossible, the Valexian observer shrieked, their scales changing color with agitation. The atmosphere alone should have dissolved them by now. Yet, they are building. They have established a perimeter and constructed structures from local materials, Ambassador Xylos replied quietly, on Kalar 13. Inside the main shelter, morning sunlight streamed through transparent roof panels. The humans had constructed it using a combination of materials from their ship and resources found on the planet. Large support beams came from a sturdy, plant-like organism with natural fire and radiation resistance. The walls incorporated the strange red moss, which they discovered had excellent insulation properties and could absorb chronal energy. Anya sat at the command table with her team. Despite the horrific conditions, they all looked gaunt but energetic. The high gravity and hyper-oxygenated atmosphere had pushed their bodies to the breaking point and forced them to adapt, their muscles bulging and their bones growing denser. Status on your biological survey, Kalen? Anya asked. Kalen pushed his glasses up and grinned. Better than expected. Many of the organisms here are similar to extremophiles on Earth. The red moss has amazing properties. It absorbs chronal energy from the storms and converts it to usable chemical energy. We're already working on biobatteries. Aris, how is everyone's health holding up? Anya asked. The higher gravity is having a positive effect, Aris said. Bone density and muscle mass are up by 12%. But there's an accelerated cellular regeneration happening. Our bodies are forcibly adapting to the chronal decay. It's a mutation. What about the Chronovores? Anya asked, turning to Jax. 2 days earlier, they had a terrifying encounter with the source of the roaring. Colossal, multi-limbed creatures with thick biometal armor and multiple rows of teeth had approached their camp. They stood over 100 meters tall and moved with uncanny speed. Jax smiled confidently. They keep their distance now. After I demonstrated our plasma cannons during that night attack, they seemed to recognize us as a threat. They've been observing the camp from the ridgelines. I think they're intelligent, Elias added. They use coordinated hunting patterns and have a form of temporal communication. The sounds they make follow specific patterns that repeat. We'll need more data, Anya said. Keep detailed records of any interactions. Speaking of the Council, Elias said, I've established a stable communication channel. We're due for a check-in tomorrow. Good, Anya replied. They'll be expecting reports of our struggles. Let's show them how well we're adapting instead. That afternoon, a planet-splitting quake shook the region. The ground rolled beneath their feet like ocean waves. Part of their shelter collapsed as a fissure opened in the valley floor, venting superheated plasma. Anya was thrown to the ground as the shaking intensified. When the shaking finally stopped, they emerged cautiously. Their shelter had partially collapsed, with the eastern wall completely gone. "That was a magnitude 12, Lena said, her instruments smoking, "and I'm detecting more seismic activity building. The planet is ripping itself apart." Instead of panicking, the team quickly organized into repair groups. They had experienced earthquakes on Earth. This was just another challenge, scaled up to a terrifying degree. By nightfall, they had not only repaired the damaged shelter, but improved it. Lena had designed a flexible foundation system that could absorb ground movement. They incorporated a nearby cave into their design, creating a natural bunker. "The council would have evacuated after that quake," Jax commented as they sat around their heating unit. "Their designs are rigid structures that shatter under stress," Lena replied. "They don't understand that flexibility and adaptation are the keys to survival." The next morning, Elias set up the comms array. The main screen flickered to life, showing Ambassador Xylos and several other alien representatives. "Greetings, Commander Sharma," the ambassador said, his eye stalks fully extended in a shocked expression. "We are pleased to find you alive." "Thank you, Ambassador," Anya replied calmly. "We've had an interesting first week. Our sensors detected a major seismic event in your region," another council member said. "We assumed your shelter would be destroyed." "We had some damage," Anya admitted, "but we've rebuilt stronger than before. The local materials are quite useful once you understand their properties." She proceeded to give them a full report, watching with hidden amusement as the council members' expressions shifted from surprise to utter disbelief. "The adaptive capacity of your species is unsettling," the ambassador said finally. "No other expedition has survived past the first lunar cycle." "We find it rather peaceful here, actually," Anya replied with a slight smile. "It reminds us of basic training." After the transmission ended, the team gathered for their daily planning session. "They still don't get it, do they?" Jax asked. "They think we're just enduring this place, not making it our home." "That gives us an advantage," Anya pointed out. "They underestimate us, which means they won't interfere with our real mission." Kalen looked up from his data tablet. "Speaking of our real mission, I've detected unusual energy readings from the northern mountains. They don't match any natural geological formation. It's a stable space-time anchor." "Artificial structures," Anya said immediately, her eyes lighting up. "Possibly," Kalen replied. "The patterns are too regular to be natural." Anya studied the map where Kalen had marked the location. "That's our next expedition, then. If there's something valuable on this planet, that's where we'll find it." "The council said no other species has established a permanent presence here," Lena said thoughtfully. "But they didn't say no one has ever been here." Anya nodded. "Exactly. Tomorrow we prepare for a journey north. Let's find out what secrets this uninhabitable planet is hiding." Outside their shelter, another Chronos-Storm began. The team watched through the transparent roof as raw energy danced across the sky. What the council viewed as deadly hazards, the humans saw as natural wonders. Where other species had failed, humans would thrive. The Class 13 Deathworld was turning out to be exactly what they had trained for all their lives. The journey to the northern mountains took 3 brutal days. Anya led the team across terrain that would have broken any other species. They traveled in a modified ground vehicle they had assembled from parts of their landing craft. Lena had reinforced it with chrono-alloy plating they fabricated from local minerals. "Radiation levels are spiking," RS reported as they climbed higher into the mountains. "We're entering a pocket of space-time distortion." "Energy readings are getting stronger," Kalen said, watching his scanner. "Whatever is up there, it's putting out a ridiculous amount of power." The path narrowed as they entered a steep canyon. Walls of dark rock rose on both sides, streaked with veins of glowing blue crystal. Chronos lightning flashed overhead constantly, creating a strange pulsing light. "Stop here," Anya ordered as they reached a point where the canyon widened into a circular area. "We'll continue on foot." They exited the vehicle, each carrying specialized equipment. Jax took point, his plasma rifle ready. The gravity seemed even stronger here, pulling at their bodies as they climbed a steep path that wound up the canyon wall. Look at these rock formations, Lena said, pausing to examine the canyon wall. They're too regular to be natural. Anya touched the surface. What had appeared to be natural rock was a constructed material, weathered by millennia of storms. This whole canyon might be artificial. They continued climbing until they reached a large plateau. Before them stood a perfect arch cut into the mountainside. The opening was a perfect arch, 20 feet high and just as wide. Strange symbols were carved around its edge, still visible despite the erosion. "Definitely not natural," Kalen whispered, his voice filled with awe. "These are the ruins of an advanced civilization." Jack scanned the entrance with his tactical sensors. No signs of movement or life forms inside, but there's a steady energy signature coming from deep within. "Let's proceed carefully," Anya decided. "Elias, maintain a comms link. If we lose contact, the backup team doesn't exist, so you'd better not lose it." They activated their light sources and entered the mountain. The tunnel inside was smooth and straight, leading steadily downward. After walking for nearly a mile, the tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber. Their lights couldn't reach the distant walls or ceiling. The air was still and surprisingly warm. "This is incredible," Eris breathed. An entire underground complex. Their lights revealed structures that resembled buildings arranged in concentric circles around a central platform. The architecture was unlike anything in Council records. All smooth curves and spiraling forms that seemed to flow like liquid frozen in time. "Spread out and search," Anya ordered. "Stay in pairs and maintain contact." Kalen and Eris moved toward what appeared to be a research facility. Lena and Jax explored structures that might have been living quarters. Anya and Elias approached the central platform. "These structures are composed of materials that should have degraded millennia ago," Kalen reported over the comlink. "Whatever built them understood how to work with this planet, not against it." Anya stepped onto the central platform. As her foot touched it, lines of blue light suddenly appeared, spreading outward like a web across the floor. The entire chamber began to illuminate as systems activated throughout the complex. "Everyone freeze," Anya commanded. "Something's happening." A holographic display appeared above the platform, showing images of the planet in strange symbols flowing like water. Elias studied them intently. "This technology is unreal. It's still functional after who knows how long." "Can you make sense of it?" Anya asked. Elias nodded slowly. "Some of these symbols are similar to mathematical constants, universal concepts. I think I can begin to decode their language." "In the research area," Kalen called, excited. "You need to see this. We found working technology." Anya and Elias joined the others. Kalen was examining wall panels that hummed with energy, displaying data that still flowed across screens. "Look at these systems," Lena marveled. "They don't fight the planet's Chronos-Storms, they harness them for power. The lightning isn't just a weather phenomenon, it's part of a planetary-scale energy collection system." Anya realized suddenly why the Council had been so determined to establish a presence on this world. They didn't send us here just to test human endurance. They sent us because they couldn't access this technology themselves. "These builders," Kalen said, examining a display that showed biological data, "they weren't alien to this world. According to this, they evolved here. They adapted to these conditions naturally, just as we adapted to Earth. A native intelligent species on a Class 13 world," Eris said, her voice filled with disbelief. "The Council probably doesn't believe that's possible." Elias had been working with an interface panel. "I've managed to activate their main data system. There's a record of who they were and what happened to them." A new hologram appeared, showing bipedal beings with features that seemed almost familiar. They were taller than humans, with more slender builds, but their basic form was surprisingly similar. "They called themselves the Lumina," Elias translated. "They evolved on this world over millions of years. But they didn't die out or go extinct." He looked up, his expression a mix of awe and bewilderment. "They left. Voluntarily." "Left?" Jax asked. "Why would they abandon their homeworld?" Elias continued reading. "According to this, they reached a level of technological advancement that allowed them to engineer their bodies. Instead of building technology to protect themselves from the environment, They improved themselves to thrive in it. Eventually, they evolved beyond the need for physical bodies at all. They transcended. And left all this behind? Anya said softly. Not abandoned, Kaylin corrected, reading another display. Preserved. This facility is a library, a museum of their journey. They left it for whoever might follow. Anya's mind raced with possibilities. The Council must know something about this. That's why they've been so desperate to establish a presence here. Should we report what we found? Eris asked. Anya thought carefully before answering. We report that we found ruins, but we don't share everything we learned. Not yet. The Council didn't send us here because they thought we could succeed. They sent us because we were expendable. If they knew we had access to this technology, they'd try to take it from us. Jax finished. Exactly, Anya said. So we learn what we can first. We understand this technology before we tell them anything about it. Elias was already downloading data to their secure systems. There's enough information here to advance human technology by centuries and change our position in the galactic community forever. When we report our discovery to the Council tomorrow, Anya added, we'll be in a position of power. They'll know we found something, but we'll control what they learn. They sent us to die, but we just found the key to ascension. Let's see how that affects their hierarchy. 3 months passed before the Galactic Council's emergency response team arrived. In that time, the humans had completely transformed their operation. Their settlement now covered a wide area of the valley, with structures built using both their own technology and what they had learned from the Lumina ruins. Anya watched from the observation deck as the Council's enormous ship descended through the turbulent atmosphere. Unlike the violent entry the Odyssey had experienced, the alien vessel moved smoothly, protected by advanced shielding technology. It was designed to transport a full scientific team and all their equipment. They brought a massive crew, Jax noted, standing beside Anya. At least 30 personnel, according to our scans. They're expecting to find us barely surviving, ready to hand over everything we found. They're in for a surprise, Anya replied, a hard glint in her eyes. The human settlement no longer resembled a basic outpost. Using the Lumina technology, they had created buildings that work with the planet's conditions rather than against them. Lightning rods captured electrical energy from the constant storms, powering their entire operation. They had gardens growing both earth plants and native vegetation, protected by clear domes that regulated temperature and humidity. Most importantly, they had thoroughly studied the Lumina database. Elias had decoded much of their language and science. Lena had implemented their building techniques, and Kaylin had mapped their biological data, discovering remarkable similarities between the Lumina's and humanity's adaptive capabilities. The Council ship landed half a mile from the human settlement. A delegation of 6 aliens emerged, wearing heavy environmental suits. Anya met them at the edge of the settlement, accompanied by her team. The humans wore light protective clothing but no helmets or breathing apparatus. The lead Council representative was a tall, thin being with pale green skin and 4 forearms. His environmental suit was heavily reinforced, yet he moved with obvious discomfort in the planet's gravity. Commander Sharma, he said through his suit's translator. I am Delegate Zorax. We are impressed to find you alive. Welcome to Terra Nova, Anya said calmly. We were beginning to think you'd forgotten about us. The Council members looked past her at the settlement. Their body language conveyed a profound shock, even through their bulky suits. This is unexpected, Delegate Zorax said. You appear to have established more than a basic outpost. We adapt quickly, Anya replied. Would you like to come inside? We can provide atmospheric modification in our conference room if the planet's air is uncomfortable for you. She led them to a circular building near the center of the settlement. Inside, the temperature was pleasant, and the air had been filtered to remove the corrosive compounds that the Council species found objectionable. The delegates cautiously removed their helmets after their instruments confirmed it was safe. You violated protocol, Delegate Zorax accused once they were seated. The technology you're using is clearly derived from the ruins you reported. All artifacts should have been secured for Council retrieval, not implemented for your use. We needed it to survive, Anya said simply. The ruins contain knowledge that helped us do that. This technology belongs to the Council, another delegate insisted, his round body covered in short tentacles. All discoveries on unexplored worlds fall under Council jurisdiction. This technology belongs to whoever built it, Anya corrected, her voice firm. And they're gone. We've learned enough to know they weren't eliminated by this planet. They evolved and moved on, just as we're evolving. She activated a display in the center of the table, which showed images of the underground complex and translations of key Lumina records. We know the truth now, Anya continued. Your council has attempted 34 previous missions to this planet, not to establish outposts, but to recover Lumina technology. All failed because no council species could withstand the conditions long enough. The delegates exchanged uncomfortable glances. You misunderstand your place, Delegate Zorak said coldly. Humans are newcomers to galactic society. You should be grateful for our guidance. And Kalen stepped forward, holding a data crystal. We've translated enough of their records to know that the Lumina were the predecessors of the council races. That's correct, isn't it? Delegate Takan shifted nervously. They're entirely relevant, Anya insisted, because the Lumina left a message for those who would come after them. They hoped their descendants would eventually return to the challenges of their homeworld and reclaim their adaptive strength. Instead, you sent us, Jax added, because you couldn't do it yourselves. Anya stood up. We have a new proposal for the Council. Earth will share what we've learned from the Lumina archives, but as equal partners, not subordinates. We want full membership in the Council, with all the rights that entails. Impossible, one of the delegates sputtered. Your species has barely achieved interstellar travel. But we've accomplished what 34 of your missions could not, Lena pointed out. We've not only survived on a Class 13 world, we've thrived. Anya placed a hand on the table. The Lumina left because they had evolved beyond physical form. Their technology allows for the same path, but it requires species with strong adaptive capabilities. Humans have those capabilities. Most council races have engineered them away. Are you threatening us? Delegate Zorax asked. Offering to help you, Anya corrected. The Lumina believed adaptation was the key to advancement. They would want their knowledge shared with species that could use it properly. After hours of tense negotiation, the council delegation returned to their ship. They carried with them Anya's proposal and a small sample of non-critical Lumina technology as evidence of the humans' good faith. As the alien ship lifted off, the team gathered on the observation deck again. Do you think they'll accept our terms? Elias asked. They don't have much choice, Anya replied. We control the ruins now, and we've implemented enough of the defense systems to keep unwanted visitors out. What if they try to take it by force? Jax asked. They won't, Anya said confidently. The Council avoids direct conflict whenever possible. Besides, we've only shared a fraction of what we've learned. They want the rest too badly to risk destroying it. Kalen looked out at the storm-swept landscape that had become their home. The Lumina records say they visited Earth thousands of years ago. They recognized potential in early humans, saw our adaptability. Maybe that's why they left this archive. They were waiting for us to find them, Eris suggested. Lena nodded. According to the records, the Lumina believed that adaptation was the foundation of true advancement. Not just technological adaptation, but biological, psychological, spiritual. Anya watched the council ship vanish into the cloud layers. They sent humans to a Class 13 Deathworld, Anya said softly to herself. It didn't go as they expected. It went much, much better. Over the next few months, more human ships arrived. Scientists, engineers, and colonists, eager to study the Lumina legacy and build a permanent human presence on the planet. The Council eventually agreed to most of Anya's terms, elevating Earth to full member status on the one-year anniversary of their landing. Anya stood on a high ridge, overlooking what had grown from their small outpost into a thriving settlement. Lightning flashed overhead, but now the humans saw it as a power source, not a threat. The Chronovores kept their distance, having learned to respect the new apex species in their territory.